you guys doing today? It's Will, just in time prepping. I'm gonna do something I haven't done for a while now. I've maybe been a year or more since I've done it. So, what I want to do is talk to you guys about your pantry, your preps that you put back, and we'll just cover a few of them, like 10 or 12. Just these are what things you would want to do to get started on. This is not mainly for not the people that already know how to do it, but basically for the people that are thinking about doing it or just now getting started. So I guess it would be your prepping 101 or whatever you want to call it. So let's just get after it. So, okay, if you're just starting out or just really getting into it, one of the most important things that you do is start buying things like canned food. And as I'm talking, you guys will see little pop-ups coming up here on the screen, and it'll kind of give you an idea, a visual of what I'm talking about, so you can see exactly what you need to be doing. So canned foods would be the best way to start out. Now, when I'm talking about putting them into your pantry, I'm not talking about a pantry that you use on a day-to-day basis. I'm talking about a pantry that you just allocate a space for, where you keep all your preps at and stuff. These are not things that you use every day. You just keep adding to them until you build up enough for your SHTF events or whatever go on. That way you are not being caught unexpectedly and not being able to take care of yourself or your family or any loved ones or anything. So I'm talking about, when I talk about your pantry, I'm talking about a place where you keep everything separate from your everyday stuff, and you just keep adding to it. So keep that in mind while we're going down the line here. So your canned foods, you want to try to get about 4 to 6 cans a week if you can. It's very easy to go to a dollar store, a Dollar General, something like that, to get what you want, because everything in there is $1 or less. So if you start out getting your canned foods there, then it's very easy to get 4 or 5 cans a week. That's like $4 or $5. $4 or $5, put them on the shelf and wait till the next week and go back and get some more. Another thing you might want to think about is, when you're getting those canned goods, make sure that you're getting things like soup or vegetables or even fruit and stuff, and make sure that they are packed in water and not oils of any kind, because oils have a tendency to break down the metal of the cans and whatnot. So make sure they're always kept in water, or even light oil or something like that. So, okay, canned goods, and you'll find an insert right up here, or maybe over here, I'm not sure, but it'll be up there. Another thing would be beans. I'm not talking about the canned beans or anything like that. I suppose you could get those for like pork and beans or whatnot. But I'm talking about like brown beans or even pinto beans or something like that. And I'm not talking about going to the store and getting those little bitty bags that you buy and you put up in your cupboard here in the kitchen or whatever. I'm talking about going and getting like 5 or 10 or even 25-pound bags of them, and have them in a dedicated place on your pantry. Like mine, I keep mine down in the basement, and that's where everything just builds up. That's my pantry area, just for my preps. So you want to think about brown beans. Buy a 5-pound bag if you can a month. Beans are pretty cheap. Also, pinto beans, try to grab a 5-pound bag of those if you can. If you can afford a bigger bag, go for it, but I'm trying to tell you how to spend on a kind of a skinny budget here. So you want to make sure that you put those things and you put them downstairs or in your pantry, wherever you got a closet made up for it or whatever, and just start building your preps up from there. Remember now, we're talking about beginners here. I'm not talking about you guys that have been doing this for months or even years. I'm talking about the people that are just thinking about doing it, or people have just started doing it or whatever. So if I'm making any mistakes, you guys just have to let me know down there in the comment bar. So, these are things that you want to think about. Now, at first, when you're first starting out, you can just get the big bags and just kind of make sure that you're keeping them up off the floor so they can't get wet or anything, but stacking them up a little bit together, and make sure you're marking the bags of the date that you get them and whatnot, so you can actually know about when you have to get rid of them or rotate them anyway. Rotate them would be the best part. Beans, white beans or pinto beans or brown beans, whatever you want to call them, they keep a long time. If you don't open the bags or anything, if you don't put a hole in the bag or anything, they'll last a long time. And I'll get on to something else later in the video here, but for now, let's just go with just stacking them up on the shelf. Another good thing would be to get white rice, big bags of it. You get it fairly cheap. Last time I looked at the white rice at the store, and you can get a big bag for about $5. So if you get some of that, try to get one bag of those a month, and just keep it put up off the floor, like I said. And we'll get into how you can store them better later in the video, but for now, think about white rice. And you can even get some brown rice. Brown rice is good to have, not a lot of, but some. Another good thing would be to keep bulk sugar, because it comes in handy for not just cooking, but for curing or whatever like that. So you want to make sure you're buying big bags of that. 1 pound, 5 pounds, whatever. And we're going to get into, well, I'll just start it right now. You can get buckets, 5-gallon buckets, and start putting this stuff into. They're called gamma buckets. They got gamma buckets and gamma lids. Those are simply for a way of keeping things like beans, rice, and pinto beans and stuff like that, be able to keep it from getting bad real fast. You just put it in there, and then the lids screw on instead of snap on, and you can screw them on, and then they have bands you can put around them from there and kind of seal them off. So those are kind of expensive. That's why I said you won't want to buy those until you get some of your preps built up, because you want to make sure that you have your food stores and stuff built up before you start buying the more expensive stuff. So buy the food stores first, and then get oxygen absorbers. Those aren't very much either. You can get a big bag of them for practically nothing, $8 or something like that. So anyway, that's I'll try to fill you in on that at the end. Another good thing to keep would be pure honey. Not the stuff you buy at the store. It's actually 100% pure honey, because it comes in handy for all kinds of stuff, not just food, but you can use it for medicinal purposes as well, to make all kinds of medicinal stuff out of it. Another good thing would be to make sure that you have salt. Salt, a big bag of it, and iodized salt, and then also non-iodized salt. And that non-iodized salt is so that you can cure things like meat and stuff. And there's other uses for it, and we can go into that in another video. Another good thing would be to make sure that you have some peanut butter. Now, peanut butter has oil in the top, so some people just go ahead and buy like what they call a powdered peanut butter, and it comes in a jar. It's all powdered and stuff, and you just mix it up with a little oil or something later, and make it into, it turns into peanut butter, even tastes like it. I didn't think it would, but it does. So peanut butter, either in the big tub, or powdered peanut butter. And all this stuff, make sure you are time stamping it by writing on there with a pen, so that you'll know about rotation. I'll try to get to that at the end here. I'm trying to keep this to 15 minutes, and I'm already 9 minutes in. So another good thing is instant potatoes, and you can buy those in bulk as well. Make sure you're writing the date down on them. And then oatmeal, you can buy that in big bags as well. And all this stuff is fairly inexpensive, even if you're buying it in bulk. So if you're going to buy this one month, you might want to buy this the other month, and just rotate back and forth till you get everything built up. And this just for the start of your stores. These would just be starting items. So the last thing I have under food would be like powdered milk, and you can get that, and you just mix it with water and stuff. So that's mainly all the food that you need just to start with. And start out small. Don't overwhelm yourself. Start out maybe getting enough for 30 days. And when you get enough there for 30 days, then move on and say, well, I'm going to double that. So you start doing the same thing again to make it for 60 days. And then, I've got all that put together. So now I'm going to go for 90 days. 90 days is pretty good. And it's a good starting point, but you really want to try to save enough for a year. That's where the gamma buckets and the gamma lids come into play with your oxygen absorbers, and then you would have to buy some Mylar bags as well. And then you just start putting stuff into Mylar bags, sealing it up, and putting it in the buckets and making sure you're writing on the buckets and stuff, and they'll keep for years. So these are the things that you want to make sure that you're taking care of, to ensure that you're not, say you have a flood or a fire or whatever, you're going to be able to grab some of this stuff and put it in your car and take off if you have to bug out. But it's a lot of stuff that you have in a designated pantry area that you don't touch every day. And if you don't touch it, it slowly builds up into a great amount, and then you're on your way to being there for a year. So that is the reasoning behind all that. Now, you've got all this other stuff. You also want to make sure that you are collecting water at the same time, and you don't want to put it in used milk jugs because the milk stays on the inside the plastic, and if it sits there long enough, then the carton starts breaking down, and then you're going to find out your water's no good. So you want to make sure that you're getting fresh water in jugs that were meant for it, or you can buy it in barrels or whatever. Also, there's all different kinds of ways of collecting water, and you can look that up by Googling it or whatever. And there's several ways out there. There's Berkeys and everything. Berkeys are a little bit expensive if you go to buy them, $200 or $300, but you can buy all the parts that go in a Berkey and make it fairly cheap. You can make one for about 50 or 60 bucks. So that's all for another video again, So anyway, that's what you want, and you want to make sure that, like I said, make sure that you're looking into a filter system. Either buying a Berkey if you can afford it. A lot of people can't or don't want to, or making your own Berkey, and that is fairly easy to do. Sometime over the winter time here, I'll probably sit down here and we'll make one together so we can see how easy it is to make. So anyway, that's some of the stuff I have for you. I want to try to keep this to 15 minutes. I'm running down the clock as we speak. But gamma buckets are on the list, along with oxygen absorbers and Mylar bags and different sizes of Mylar bags. And then the things I listed on here for food starters. A lot of this stuff can be picked up at the dollar store, so don't let it overwhelm you. It's easily taken care of. I think that's about it for this video because I'm out of time, but I'm going to start making another video once a week covering something like this and try to get my original Just-in-Time channel back up and running the way it's supposed to be. So you guys will be able to learn from some of the stuff that I've learned over the years. I think that's all I'm going to say to you for today. Make sure that everything on the list here is in packages that can't be tainted by water or moisture or anything, and that you keep everything in a cool, dark area. So like I said, my pantry is down in the basement. It's a cupboard that I made, and I actually had to put a lock on mine to keep the people that live with me out of it. But you do what you have to do to protect the ones that you love. So make sure you do that. Make sure you make your pantry somewhere other than what you use every day. And then your canned goods, you need to rotate those every 30 days. And that's why I say you write on the front of the can or right on your shelf or whatever what day you put everything in there, so you can get in a habit of doing it every day the same way. All right, I'm gonna quit there. If you guys have any comments or think that I forgot something that needed to be said, make sure that you are putting it down below in the comment box. And as usual, I can't do any of it without you guys. You guys are just amazing in my book. Each and every one of you have something to bring that I can always use somewhere, sometime. And as usual, it's God bless you, God bless me, and God bless USA. Thanks for coming, and I look forward to doing the next one for you. All right, have a good day.